The Galactic Academy's emergency containment protocols activated mid-lecture, bathing the auditorium in crimson warning lights as Professor Keltus collapsed against his podium. 3 medical teams burst through the doors within seconds, scanners whirring as they converged on the young human cadet who'd just mentioned, casually, like discussing the weather, that she'd walked barefoot through something called poison ivy as a child. "Impossible!" Keltus wheezed, his respiratory sacs inflating irregularly. Class. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Deathworld exposure without full environmental protection. You'd be dead within minutes. Your nervous system would... It itched like crazy, Emma Johnson said, looking genuinely confused by the 3-alarm emergency response. And Mom was pretty mad about the rash, but I was fine after a week or so. The senior cadet beside her, Xylax of the Vrexian 3rd Fleet, had already moved 4 seats away. Director Jotaro, this human is clearly experiencing psychotic delusion. No rational being would claim unprotected contact with class 13 organic toxins as a childhood memory. Director Jotaro strode down the center aisle, his quad-jointed legs carrying him faster than Emma had seen any administrator move. "Cadet Johnson, I need you to confirm your statement for the record. You claim to have made direct epidermal contact with vegetation from a class 13 Deathworld without protective equipment?" Yes. Emma glanced around at 200 alien faces staring at her in various expressions of horror. "Is this a trick question? I grew up in Oregon. We played outside. Sometimes you touch plants. Sometimes those plants are poison ivy or poison oak or stinging nettles. It's annoying, but..." "Evacuate all non-essential personnel," Jotaro's voice boomed through the hall's communication system. "This is now a Level 7 biological contamination event." "Wait, what?" Emma stood up as half the auditorium scrambled for the exits. "I'm not contaminated. I literally just showered this morning." Professor Keltus had recovered enough to pull up a holographic display, his digits trembling as he accessed the Academy's central database. "Oregon, that's on Earth. Let me verify the classification." His face went through 3 distinct color changes as the data loaded. "Oh, merciful void. Earth is designated Class 12E, 12, E for extreme." He looked at Emma like she'd just materialized from a nightmare. "You were born there?" "Well, yeah." Emma spread her hands helplessly. "Where else would I be born?" "A safe planet," Xylax shouted from behind an overturned desk he'd fashioned into cover. "Literally anywhere in the civilized galaxy classified below Class 7th. Jotaro was scrolling through something on his personal datapad, his eye stalks extending and contracting rapidly, a sign of extreme stress Emma had learned to recognize. "Cadet Johnson, your application file lists your homeworld as Earth, but we all assumed there was an error in the database. No species successfully reproduces on Class 13 worlds. The environmental hazards alone would prevent juvenile development." "Okay, I'm really confused now." Emma crossed her arms. "Are we talking about the same Earth? Blue and green planet, 1 moon, about 25,000 light-years from here? 73% surface water coverage with extreme salinity levels, lethal to most carbon-based life," Keltus read from his display, his voice growing fainter with each specification. "Atmospheric oxygen concentration of 21%, sufficient to cause combustion cascade reactions. Gravitational force of 1 standard G with no buffering technology. Rotation cycle causing radical temperature fluctuations every 12 hours. Tectonic instability producing frequent seismic events, populated by approximately 8 million hostile megafauna species and 42 billion documented lethal microorganisms." He looked up. "And you played outside?" I mean, we have backyards for a reason, Emma said. Look, can I just show you some pictures? Would that help? Jitaro's security clearance gave him override access to personal devices. Within seconds, Emma's photo collection flooded the main auditorium display. The remaining cadets gasped collectively. The first image showed a younger Emma, maybe 10 years old, standing barefoot in a stream. Crystal Creek, Summer Camp 2167 read the caption. She's in direct contact with the water, Zilax whispered. Unfiltered. Look at the microbe concentration readings. The scanner estimates 40,000 distinct organisms per milliliter. We went swimming there every day, Emma offered. It was cold but really fun. Kael'thas cycled to the next image. Emma hiking on a mountain trail, wearing something the aliens had learned humans called shorts and a t-shirt, minimal coverage that exposed most of her limbs to direct environmental contact. That rock formation, he said slowly. Do you recognize the mineral composition, Jitaro? The director enlarged a corner of the image. Granite composite with quartz inclusions. Surface temperature under direct solar radiation would exceed 40 degrees standard. She's barefoot again. Walking on superheated stone. Oh, that was Mount Hood, Emma said brightly. Yeah, the rocks got pretty warm. You had to kind of hop between shady spots, but the view from the top was totally worth it. Worth it? A medical officer who'd been scanning Emma dropped his equipment. Cadet, our deep space exploration teams wear thermal insulation suits in conditions half that extreme. Emma clicked to another photo. This is me and my brother at the coast. Stop! Jitaro held up 3 of his 4 hands. Is that Earth's primary ocean? Yeah, the Pacific. We spent a week. You entered it? Kael'thas looked like he might faint again. The Pacific Ocean has documented current systems strong enough to pull a transport shuttle off course. Wave formations that have destroyed research vessels. And you're telling me you went into that water recreationally? I mean, surfing is fun, Emma said. You have to watch out for riptides, obviously. And there was that one time a jellyfish stung me, but... Jellyfish. Zilax pulled up his own database. Cnidarian organisms with neurotoxin delivery systems. Class 4 hazard minimum. Some species classified as Class the 8 autonomous weapons due to lethality rates. He stared at Emma. It stung you. And you survived? It hurt a lot, Emma admitted. But my dad had meat tenderizer in the beach bag, so we put that on it and I was fine. Meat tenderizer, Kael'thas repeated slowly. You treated a neurotoxin injection with a food preparation enzyme? Works great on bee stings too. The remaining cadets fled. Within an hour, Emma found herself in the Academy's medical center, surrounded by every xenobiology expert within 6 sectors. Dr. Vexia, the Galactic Survey's chief xenosurvival specialist, had arrived via emergency transport, along with what appeared to be a small military contingency. I need to understand, Vexia said, her translator struggling to convey her species' particular flavor of academic panic. The full scope of your childhood environmental exposure. Please describe a typical day. Emma shrugged. I don't know. Normal kid stuff? Wake up, eat breakfast, go to school, come home, play outside until dinner, do homework, go to bed. Focus on the play outside component, Jitaro said. He'd set up what looked like a command center in the corner of the medical bay. Okay. In summer, we'd usually ride bikes to the park, climb trees, maybe go to the swimming hole if it was hot, build forts in the woods, catch frogs at the pond, hunt for cool rocks, regular stuff. Vexia was taking notes so rapidly her stylus was smoking. Ride bikes, self-propelled ground transportation with no safety restraints. Climb trees, ascension into unstable organic structures at lethal heights. Swimming hole, uncontrolled water immersion. Woods, uncharted wilderness with predator exposure. Each of these activities individually qualifies as advanced survival training in our curriculum. And you did them all in one day, Kael'thas added weakly. As recreation. Sometimes we'd go camping on weekends, Emma continued. Pack up tents and sleeping bags, hike a few miles into the forest, cook food over a campfire, sleep under the stars. Jitaro's datapad slipped from his hands. You slept in an unshielded environment with no structural protection during the night cycle when temperatures drop and nocturnal predators are active. Well, we had tents, Emma said. They're like thin fabric shelters. Fabric? Vexia's translator squealed. The standard Academy survival shelter has 12-centimeter Durasteel walls with environmental regulators. You're describing something a casual breeze could destroy. I mean, sometimes they leaked when it rained, Emma admitted. That was annoying. Zilax, who'd been convinced to return for the investigation, cleared his throat. I'll challenge her. These claims are clearly exaggerated or false. He gestured to the medical bay's attached training facility. Cadet Johnson, are you willing to demonstrate these supposed abilities? Emma perked up. Sure, what do you want me to do? 10 minutes later, Zilax was being treated for shock while Emma completed her third lap around the facility's extreme terrain simulator, barefoot at 1.2 G, across surfaces ranging from jagged pseudo-rock to thermal sand to cryo-ice. How are you doing this? Kael'thas demanded, watching her vital signs remain stable. Your foot tissue should be shredded. The thermal variation alone should have triggered protective vasoconstriction that would make walking impossible. Emma hopped off the simulator, barely breathing hard. I don't know, man. Feet are pretty tough. Yeah, if I don't go barefoot for a while, they get softer, but the skin builds back up pretty quick. Builds back up, Vexia repeated faintly. Your species has regenerative adaptation to combat environmental damage as a standard feature. I guess? I mean, you get calluses. That's normal. Nothing about this is normal, Jitaro roared, then immediately apologized. Forgive me, but Cadet Johnson, please understand, you're describing biological capabilities that our most advanced species require technological assistance to replicate. Your casual relationship with environmental hazards it's incomprehensible. Emma sat down on a bench, finally starting to understand the magnitude of the disconnect. Okay, so Earth is actually dangerous, objectively, compared to other planets? Dangerous? Kael'thas pulled up a comparison chart. Let me show you the standard habitability classifications. Class I worlds are optimized for biological life, stable temperatures, minimal weather variation, no significant predators, carefully balanced ecosystems. Most civilized species evolved on Class I or Class Thursut worlds. Earth is Class Thort, Vexia continued. Category E for extreme. It's in the same classification as Vexthor Prime, which killed an entire research colony in 16 hours, and Yarthak's Doom, which we now use as a prison planet because no one can survive there long enough to escape. Okay, but people don't die in 16 hours on Earth, Emma protested. We have, billions of people. Old people. Babies. They're all fine. Because you adapted, Zilax said, having recovered enough to rejoin the discussion. Your species evolved there. You built up immunities and physical tolerances over millions of generations. But that's how evolution works everywhere, right? No, Jitaro pulled up another display. Most species evolve on safe worlds, then develop technology to explore more dangerous environments. Humans did it backward. You evolved to survive the unsurvivable, and now He gestured helplessly at Emma. You're here. Walking around like gravity and radiation and microbes are just minor inconveniences. Dr. Vexia cleared her throat. Cadet Johnson, I need to ask you about something specific. Your file mentions you worked as a park ranger before joining the academy. Can you describe those duties? Oh, sure. I worked at Crater Lake National Park for 2 summers. Basically hiking trail maintenance, visitor safety, wildlife monitoring, that kind of thing. Wildlife monitoring, Vexia repeated, on a Class Thouns Deathworld. What kind of wildlife? Let's see. Black bears, cougars, elk, eagles, various smaller mammals and birds. Oh, and we had to watch for rattlesnakes on the lower trails. Bears, Kael'thas said in a hollow voice. She monitored bears. They're mostly harmless if you don't surprise them or get between a mother and cubs, Emma explained. We'd just make noise on the trails so they'd hear us coming and move away. Mostly harmless, Zilax repeated. I've seen earth bears in the xenofauna database. They mass 200 kilograms and have claws that can shred duraplast. Well, yeah, you don't want to fight one, Emma laughed. That would be stupid. You just give them space and respect and everyone's fine. Jotaro was scrolling through something again, his movements increasingly agitated. I'm looking at the other human cadets currently enrolled in Galactic Academy programs. There are 47 total, all from Earth, all survived childhood there. He looked up. I've been reviewing their applications. We have humans in our Advanced Survival Program, our Extreme Environment Engineering track, our Xenobiology Hazard Response team. Makes sense, Emma said. Those sound like good programs. They're the hardest programs, Kael'thas exploded. 90% of applicants wash out in the first semester. The final examinations take place on Class 6 hazard worlds and still have a 30% casualty rate even with full protective equipment. Oh, Emma processed this. So, for you guys, those are actually challenging? The silence that followed was profound. Vexia finally spoke, her voice carefully controlled. Cadet Johnson, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer honestly. What do humans consider a dangerous environment? Emma thought about it. I mean, actually dangerous? Like active war zones, extreme weather events, blizzards, hurricanes, that kind of thing, industrial accidents, maybe free climbing without equipment, or cave diving in unmapped systems, swimming during storm surges, playing with wildlife that doesn't want to be bothered, running into burning buildings, though firefighters do that professionally, so I guess with training it's manageable. Each item on her list caused multiple aliens to make distressed noises. But that's stuff that could kill you, Emma clarified. For regular danger, we just... I don't know. Drive carefully. Watch where we're walking. Check the weather before camping. Learn basic first aid. Common sense stuff. Common sense, Jotaro muttered. He pulled up a training manual. This is the Galactic Standard Survival Guide. It's 1,700 pages long and covers basic protocols for operating in Class 3 through Class 6 environments. It takes 3 years of intensive study to fully certify. Cool, Emma said. What do humans use? Zilax pulled up Earth's database entry. The Boy Scout Handbook, 120 pages. Recommended age range, 11 to 18 Earth years. Oh yeah, I had one of those. Emma brightened. Got it when I joined Scouts in 5th grade. Pretty useful. Had knot-tying instructions, plant identification, basic navigation. Good stuff. Children, Kael'thas said. You give children instructions for surviving hostile environments. I mean, they're going to go outside anyway, Emma said reasonably. Might as well teach them how to do it safely. Vexia had pulled up footage from what appeared to be Earth's public video network. I'm watching something called Kindergarten Field Trip to Nature Center. These are 5-year-old humans? Looks about right, Emma confirmed, looking at the screen. They're outdoors, walking, touching plants. There's no protective equipment, no environmental shielding. They're just exposed. Vexia's voice climbed steadily higher. And this is considered educational, appropriate for children. Sure, Emma said. How else are kids going to learn about nature? Holo simulations, 3 aliens shouted in unison. But that's not the same as actually being there, Emma protested. Jotaro sat down heavily. No, I suppose it isn't. He looked at Emma with something approaching awe. Your species doesn't just survive deathworlds. You prefer them. You find them beautiful. You raise your children in them intentionally. When you put it that way, it sounds weird, Emma said. But yeah, I guess. Earth is home. It's where we belong. This changes everything, Vexia said quietly. Our entire understanding of survival training, environmental protocols, species classification, it's all built on the assumption that there's a baseline level of safety required for sentient life to thrive. And humans obliterate that assumption by existing, Kael'thas finished. He looked at Emma. What are you people? Emma shrugged, smiling. Honestly, we're just really good at adapting. The emergency council convened within 12 hours. Emma found herself testifying before a panel of the galaxy's leading experts in xenobiology, survival systems, and species integration. By the end of her testimony, which mostly consisted of describing a normal childhood and watching alien scientists have existential crises, several major policy changes had been implemented. All human cadets were immediately exempted from standard survival training prerequisites. The Academy created a new classification system with human baseline capabilities as the reference point for advanced expert-level environmental operation. Equipment manufacturers began redesigning safety gear after realizing their top-of-the-line protection was inferior to human bare skin in multiple categories. Professor Kael'thas volunteered to completely rewrite the extreme environment course curriculum, with Emma as his primary consultant. I've been teaching this class for 40 years, he told her privately. 40 years, and I never truly understood what survival meant until I met you. Director Jotaro sent a classified report to the Galactic Council with the subject line, Urgent. Reassess human integration protocols. They're from a deathworld and didn't think to mention it. Zilax, to everyone's surprise, became Emma's closest friend at the Academy. Someone has to make sure you don't accidentally terrify the entire student body, he explained. Besides, I've learned more practical survival techniques from you in 3 days than I learned in 4 years of formal training. Really? Emma asked. Like what? If you're cold, put on a jacket was genuinely revolutionary, Zilax said seriously. We've been using thermal regulation suits that require 40 minutes of calibration. You just add a clothing layer. That's just common sense. For humans, maybe. Dr. Vexia published a paper titled Post-Deathworld Species Adaptation, The Curious Case of Homo sapiens, that won her the Galactic Science Foundation's highest honor. She cited Emma 17 times. 3 weeks after the incident, Emma was walking back to her dormitory after an evening jog, 5 miles at what she considered a comfortable pace, but which had left Zilax gasping on a bench after the first mile, when she spotted Kael'thas standing outside the training facility. Professor, working late? Ah, Cadet Johnson. Yes, I was reviewing the new curriculum. He gestured at the building. We're installing what humans would recognize as a hiking trail as part of the advanced course. Just a basic path through artificial wilderness, Class V environment, roughly equivalent to a mild earth forest. That sounds nice, Emma said. Good training value. We're calling it the Johnson Challenge course, Kael'thas said with a slight smile. He'd been practicing human expressions. Completing it barefoot becomes an automatic qualification for the Extreme Survival Certification. Emma laughed. That seems excessive. Does it? Kael'thas pulled up a hologram showing a peaceful woodland path with a small stream crossing. This environment would kill 70% of Academy species within 3 hours without protective equipment. You'd probably describe it as a nice afternoon walk. I mean, yeah, okay, fair point. Emma, Kael'thas said, his tone shifting to something more serious. May I ask you a personal question? Sure. Do you ever miss it? Earth? The danger that you grew up with? Emma looked up at the artificial sky of the Academy's dome, thinking of home. Yeah, she said quietly. I miss the way the air smells after rain, the sound of wind in the trees, that specific quality of light during sunset over the mountains, the feeling of cold water from a mountain stream. She smiled. I miss knowing that every day I'm alive because I'm capable and aware and resilient, not because machines are keeping me safe. We see your world as hostile, Kael'thas said. You see it as home. It's both, Emma replied. Earth is dangerous, Professor. It can kill you in about 1,000 different ways, but that's what makes it beautiful. It demands respect, attention, adaptation. It made us who we are. And who are you? Kael'thas asked. Really? Beyond the classifications and statistics? Emma thought about barefoot summers and winter storms, about learning to read the sky and understanding the language of wind, about every scraped knee and bee sting and sunburn that taught her the boundaries of her own strength. Survivors, she said finally. We're the species that looked at the most dangerous planet in the sector and called it paradise. We're the ones who turned survival into an art form and then forgot it was supposed to be hard. Kael'thas nodded slowly. The galaxy is going to have to adjust to you, all of you. We'll try not to terrify too many people, Emma promised. Please do, Kael'thas said. I think we need the challenge. Emma left him there, continuing her walk back to the dorm. Tomorrow she had her first session as a teaching assistant for the survival course. Zilax had already warned her that half the class was considering dropping, rather than face being instructed by the human who walks on Deathworlds barefoot. She smiled to herself. They'd come around. Once they understood that Earth hadn't made humans fearless, it had made them capable. There was a difference. Behind her, Kael'thas watched her go. This small human who'd accidentally revolutionized galactic understanding of survival and species capability. Then he went back inside to continue redesigning a curriculum that had been considered comprehensive for 3 centuries. It turned out that teaching anyone to survive was easy once you'd learned from someone who'd been doing it, effortlessly, since childhood. Even if that childhood had taken place in hell, and she remembered it as the best years of her life.